Newsflash: conservation efforts actually work. These animals are living proof that protecting wildlife through legislation and organizations can bring species back from the brink of extinction. Asian snow leopard. At the beginning of the 21st century, there were only about 2,000 snow leopards left in the wild. Thanks to the work of conservation groups like Snow Leopard Trust, snow leopards are no longer considered extremely vulnerable to becoming extinct. Today, they're just vulnerable. So although there is more work to be done, population numbers are back up to almost 7,000. The giant panda. In 2003, there were only 1,600 giant pandas left in the world. These shockingly low numbers encourage the Chinese government and nonprofit organizations like the World Wildlife Fund to step in and help these adorable animals. Panda populations have risen steadily by at least 14% over the past decade. The cheetah. At the beginning of the 20th century, the cheetah population was over 100,000 worldwide. But by the end of the century, they existed in only 11% of their former habitats. Thanks to the conservation efforts of organizations like the African Wildlife Foundation, about 6,700 adult cheetahs exist in the wild. The African elephant. From 1973 to 1989, 85% of the African elephant population disappeared, as most were being either killed for sport or poached for their ivory tusks. Though elephant populations are still considered vulnerable, legislation now exists to protect elephant habitats. Today, elephant populations have normalized at around 415,000. The United States Endangered Species Act, or the ESA, is credited with saving 56 species, including the California condor. In 1987, poaching and habitat destruction left only 23 California condors in the wild. But with intensive captive breeding and conservation efforts, condor populations are now at about 446. The bald eagle. In the 1970s, with only about 500 nesting pairs remaining, this American icon was very in danger of becoming extinct. But after an incredible recovery effort, bald eagles were removed from the endangered species list in 2007. The Florida manatee. At the end of the 21st century, there were only 1,300 manatees left in the world. But because of the ESA, the marine mammals numbers have popped back up to about 6,200 over the past decade. The American alligator. By the late 1960s, these reptiles were highly endangered after being decimated by decades of hunting and habitat loss. Thanks to the ESA, states began monitoring American alligator populations and helped them make a full recovery by 1987. So, spread the word. Conservation efforts truly work. Let's all do our part to make sure we don't lose any more species in the 21st century.
Nameless.